warning was SOS, and which meant shoot on sight. My friend's a private investigator, and she saw it as she went to interview somebody at the jail. She saw it up there and recognizing my picture, asked to see it, and they've harassed me, followed me, so I filed suit approximately a month ago against the feds and against Sheriff Sullivan under the civil rights statutes against Sheriff Sullivan.
Let me see if I understand this right. The feds say that you're mentally incompetent, but the courts allow you to practice law on your own behalf.
Oh yeah, you know, and they don't have to even review my filings anymore because I have, like I said, I handled all my own appeals and gone to the Supreme Court and petitions, the richest certiorari, and things like that.
I think that covers the mental incompetency. Mr. Gagan, did you attempt to prevent the bombing of the Murrah building?
Yes, I did.
Did you notify, when you learned where the bombing was likely to occur and about when, did you notify any government agencies that a government building is going to be blown up on such and such, approximately such and such a date?
Yes. The reason I got immunity on September 14, 1994 is because I said that a federal building in Denver or in the Midwest or other U.S. cities was a target of some Middle Eastern terrorists. So they granted me immunity at that time based upon that allegation, and then 6-7 months later, on March 27th, I hand-delivered to the U.S. Marshal Service at the U.S. Courthouse in Denver, Colorado, at 9 in the morning, documents that indicated, I specifically made reference in there to the fact that, in my opinion, in a short period of time, previously planned attack on a federal building was going to be, would occur, along with the possible killing of judges, prosecutors, and law enforcement. That was on March 27, 1995, and they did not, I had asked them to call me back, and they didn't, and I left the area on April 2nd, went to Las Vegas. One of my Middle Eastern contacts came by the hotel where my brother works and asked me to accompany him to Kingman, Arizona on the 4th of April 1995. 1981 Brown Thunderbird, his name was Omar. I rode with him. I told my brother, you know, to remember the date, to get a look at the man, because it's an open area right there where my brother worked on Fremont Street. And we drove to Kingman, Arizona. We stopped for gas in Kingman at the Union 76 station. I paid for the gas, so I kept the receipt. And ultimately turned it over to Stephen Jones. But we went up to Northern and Sierra, the street intersection there in Kingman, and there was a person in a pickup truck, dark. I can't say if it's blue or dark brown or whatever, but it was night. It was 11:30, and a package was exchanged, and it's my understanding that it was money. And so we got back in the car to head back to Vegas, and I asked Omar what was going down. He said, they're going to hit a federal building in 2 weeks or so. And I said, where, in Denver? And he goes, well, Denver or city nearby. Well, previously on March 17th, I had a meeting at the Hilton in Denver, and I saw the plans of the Alfred Murrah Federal building sitting on the table with the two terrorists that I dealt with, Omar and Ahmad, the two main terrorists, and a gentleman that flew up from Oklahoma City. And they were asking me to see pictures, and most of the time they were talking in Arabic, but they'd call me over to ask me if I'd recognize certain things, and on the table were blueprints of the Alfred Murrah building, because down at the bottom in blue was a J.W. Bates and Company, like I forget if they were the architects or stuff like that, and I'd been here previously as part of this plan. I've been to Oklahoma City, and I knew it was Oklahoma City, so I flew back to Denver after telling everybody I would never be back. I called my friend, a cab driver named William Bears, and I needed him to take the bombing warning in because I wasn't supposed to be back in Denver, and he did so. He filled out an affidavit to that in regards to that. He walked it in, he handed it, he went into the courthouse, he handed it, he got a signature on it. Her name is Sharon Hoff. She's a U.S. Marshal. She's the same person I gave it to on March 27th. Her signature matches, but they said, well, there's no stamp. It's suspicious. Well, you know, they have cameras in the courthouse, and I have friends at the courthouse, and they saw me there on the 27th, and they saw Billy Bears come in on the April 6th. I waited out in the cab outside. He drives a taxi. He came outside, and they followed him outside, and he said, "Where's Gagan?" And Bears didn't say anything. And he said, "Well, tell him to come and see us." Well, I was watching him from across the street. I went home, waited for the call. I told her down at the bottom to call me now in big capital letters. She never called.
Please answer the next question just with a yes or a no. Is it your testimony that there was a conspiracy among several individuals to bomb the Murrah P. Federal Building on April 19th, 1995?
Without question.
Okay. Tell us, please, in your own words, how you became involved with these people.
Previously, I had assisted Iranians, and then the FBI knew about it. They confiscated the tape and all that. I got false IDs for some Iranians up in Denver. So I also had associations with them in Mexico City. I had associations with the Russians. The FBI knew all this, and so the Middle Eastern people, and I'd done some things for them. They trusted me, and you know, nothing like this. I mean, I've never been involved in this type of stuff. And through that, over the period of time, they stayed in contact with me in various groups, and then all of a sudden the cell contacted me and asked me if I wanted to participate in the bombing.
Were you paid by this group to participate?
Yeah.
Can you tell us how much?
$250,000.
Do you have any idea where this money came from?
Colombia.
Would you look at this document and see if that is in fact a copy of a document that you have in your possession of the account in Colombia, the title of the account number and all of that, and gives the date when the account was opened, the date closed, and
yes,
that information?
Yes, this is correct document.
Thank you. I want to enter this in evidence, and I'll give it to Vice Chairman, Mr. D.Z. Lawton, to hold on to. How did you, who delivered the money to you? What farm was it in? Where did you pick it up? That sort of thing. Give us an idea about the $250,000.
When I was contacted, and I want y'all to know I was not ever going to do this, but I agreed, and I said, yeah, let's get after it. And so a person that I assume was Latin, he was a very dignified-looking banker-type person. They very seldom called me. The person that I was living with at the time filed an affidavit that, you know, it'd be a one ring or a knock on the window at 3 in the morning, and I'd go outside, and then we'd get in the car, and I received this money in one cash payment at in a car at 8 Airport, Stapleton Airport.
I want to make a comment here about J.W. Bates. Does anybody know for sure, is that not Bates' son? B-A-T-E-S-O-N?
Yeah.
So for the court reporter's benefit, we need to spell it right. B-A-T-E-S-O-N. J.W. Bateson was the name on the architect plan that Mr. Gagan saw on the table at the Hilton in South. Mr. Gagan, did you ever come to Oklahoma City to case the Murrah building for these people?
Yes.
Approximately how many times?
Twice.
When was the last time you were in Oklahoma City to case the building?
April 13, 1995.
That would be 6 days before the bombing?
Yeah.
What 3 cities were originally considered as by the conspirators for this explosion, for this operation?
Denver,